When I die, I'ma go to Snow Bunny Heaven. Snow Bunny Heaven.
Because there are a lot of people in this country who do not like black women, but black women are the base of the Democratic Party.
If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, God damn it, I'm not.
All right.
that like button for me, y'all. Getting fired up in just a minute. Happy Father's Day, everybody. And we are live. Welcome to the show. Thank you guys for coming today. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. We are going to get right into it. I don't know what I should talk about first. So, your man FD Signifier, as the title says, he just can't quit the Manosphere. And it's crazy because, he says he don't need the Manosphere. He's above us, all these things and whatnot. But you know how these niggas is. And I realized something about the culture. I think that FD Signifier is attempting to defend. It's not just Black women in the abstract. There's something else that he's trying to defend. And this is why I talk about race and politics and Black relationships kind of simultaneously the way I do, because I think there is a link that we don't really get to explore often, because the conversations that typically get had, especially on the bigger major platforms and panels and whatnot, they don't always delve into certain corners. But one of the reasons why, for example, the last time we were here talking about FD Signifier, I pointed out that I actually put it in the title. They're accusing the Black Manosphere of white nationalism, right? And the reason behind that is because tactically, strategically for them, this is the tried and true, almost foolproof method, method of keeping the Black men on the farm, which is to always distract them with race war. I call it the forevolution. The revolution must continue forever, or until we win, but we're never meant to win, so it's a forevolution. And the content, the concepts, the kinds of thinking and ideas that get thrown around places like the Manosphere and the Black Manosphere in particular, the Black Manosphere in particular is a mortal threat to the Black Revolution. And FD Signifier, among other things, above all else, though, he does see himself as a part of the Black revolutionary cadre. And especially, coming out of the university system and all the professional circles that have been kind of infiltrated by this line of thinking, it makes sense. It just kind of fits a pattern. And what I've come to realize is that Black men wanting to be dominant figures in their homes, Black men essentially wanting to have what's called white patriarchy, is the very thing that threatens the idea of the Black Revolution. And honestly, before we even get to FD and K Michelle, I want to jump back in the Wayback Machine for a little while. Because every now and then a couple of clips get thrown on social media and they start to go viral, and they highlight the fact that we've been kind of stuck in this rut. As black people have been stuck in this rut for a very long time. And as much as, you know, guys in the Manosphere get accused of, you know, hating women and all you do is criticize women and you don't have solutions, you know, all the typical negative criticisms that we get. And matter of fact, I was just over on No Captivity with Freezy. Shout out to Freezy and that whole gang over there. You know, it's a rough crowd, but you know how I do. And I actually got some of that queued up. We might get to that in a second, but I was over there on Freezy's channel this morning and just kind of addressing the idea that as much as y'all say y'all want the community to be together and all that, y'all really slip into this habit of talking to the black men crazy. And especially because we got this whole, you know, Manosphere red pill thing going on. It like really, really pisses people off. But the thing is, the conversations have been going on for a long time.
My opinion of women of the 80s is that they have lost something as far as their femininity. I'm proud of being black. Can't be no more than what I am. And I want my woman to be the same way. I feel more comfortable. You know, right now I'm not comfortable because I don't have a woman black enough for me.
I think the ladies of the 70s were more independent, but the ladies of the 80s will be more dependent on men. Mostly because they've been outside in the world and that they've seen how hard it is out there.
You see a lot more women in grad.
Now, knowing that this is in the 80s, doesn't that guy just sound particularly foolish? Like the women, they're just going to realize you actually do need a man. He really believed that. Back in the 80s, he believed that one day the women just going to be like, you know what? I don't want to do this. I'm going to get me a man and I'm going to stay home and have some kids and do it like we used to.
I think the ladies of the 70s were more independent, but the ladies of the 80s will be more dependent on men. Mostly because they've been outside in the world and that they've seen how hard it is out there.
You see a lot more women in graduate schools. You see a lot more women in executive positions, a lot more women owning their own offices and businesses. And I think men are becoming scared of that.
The opportunities for the black man, like I say, are not equal to the white man. They are more on the level of being under the black woman.
They're only concerned with themselves. They have no religious or no conviction.
Now that last lady was actually making an interesting point. When it comes to like opportunities on a societal level, I do think there is an argument, a strong argument to be made that black women have been granted a level of access that the average black man has nothing to match that with. And that has an implication when it gets down to the pairing off and who gets with who and how people can actually stay together in the long term.
Owning their own offices and businesses. And I think men are becoming scared of that.
The opportunities for the black man, like I say, are not equal to the white man. They are more on the level of being under the black woman.
They're only concerned with themselves. They have no religious or no convictions whatsoever, and sex is usually their first priority.
How I feel about the women here in the 80s, that they are beautiful,
fantastic,
and most of them have the jobs. So stick with them.
He sound like one of these niggas I'll be arguing with on the panel.
Usually their first priority.
How I feel about the women here in the 80s, that they are beautiful, fantastic, and most of them have the jobs. So stick with them.
The male mentality is a little shaky, like weak. But I don't blame the men fully because there are a lot of dense women out here also.
Well, I think they're more independent now. They look more toward a single life, not really a husband and wife relationship as they used to in the past.
I think it's about time for everybody to get their act together. I think that the women depend on the men depend on the women, and if we all work together as a unit, then we can get something done. So I'm calling all men, be a man and do what you're supposed to do spiritually, financially, and mentally. And for the women, we got to stick with the men, encourage them in every area. And I think that if we do this, you'll find that the children will grow up stronger with a lot more love in their lives and not looking so much for the things of the street.
Shout out to Red Illusion in the chat. He says the Macs of the 80s were low-key simps. You know what's an interesting phenomenon you run into when you get into a lot of panel discussions like I have over the years? The guys who make it a part of their personality, who, you know, it's something that they claim openly with a bit of pride. Like, you know, I had a bunch of women. I was running through women. I had all these girls. I had a rotation, da-da-da-da. You know those kind of guys. You know, the game bros or whatever, right? Those niggas who say they got the most pussy out of women, that they had the most girlfriends, that they don't even have to try. Women just come up to them. I don't understand what you niggas talking about. Those niggas be the biggest simps, bro. It's the craziest phenomenon to watch. You know, we were talking about hip hop earlier on Freezy's panel, and how Luke kind of introduced, you know, women twerking and all this aggressive sexual behavior and all that. And the thing is, that was kind of low-key an example of that sort of guy being frank and honest about his relationship to the average black woman, right? Most of Black America had no idea how they was busting it open down in Florida. And that did kind of spread, and that's a whole other story to itself. But it just really is crazy to watch guys that actually know the dark sides of female nature, because women break the rules for them and they see it firsthand. But then, you know, they act like, you know, the average guy who sees all this happening around him got nothing to talk about. It's a wild thing to watch happen, bro. Human behavior is an amazing thing.
White structure incarcerating the black male has continued doing this. She cannot live with us. It's not that we can't live with her.
Are you blaming us? Are you saying that it's our fault that this happened?
No, I'm not blaming Black America women. I just said that I'm blaming the system. They are victims of the system like the black male.
Well, why do you say that we are castrating you? You say that you want to be the leaders. Okay, well, what about the black professional woman? Are you saying that there should be no black professional woman? Are you trying to deny black women the right to be creative, the right to function?
We're not asking for you to take a back seat. We're saying that you have got to be astute enough and can view the situation well enough where you just automatically know what your role is and step back. And whenever...
Now, I was telling you guys for the longest time, once I kind of took a look at, you know, the history of the Black civil rights movement, it became crystal clear. It was obvious that around the time after the death of Dr. King, and then the rise of Malcolm, and then that whole revolutionary era that came after that, it was obvious that the Black revolutionaries were creating a class of warrior women. And they're not, you know, warrior in the physical aggressive sense, but I mean, yeah, somewhat in that degree as well. But really, in from an ideological perspective, you are creating a fellow combatant, right? And now you have two equal warriors arguing about who's supposed to lay down during missionary style.
She cannot live with us. It's not that we can't live with her.
Are you blaming us? Are you saying that it's our fault that this happened?
No, I'm not blaming Black America women. I just said that I'm blaming the system. They are victims of the system like the black male.
Well, why do you say that we are castrating you? You say that you want to be the leaders. Okay, well, what about the black professional woman? Are you saying that there should be no black professional woman? Are you trying to deny black women the right to be creative, the right to function?
We're not asking for you to take a back seat. We're saying that you have got to be astute enough and can view the situation well enough where you just automatically know what your role is and step back. And whenever you want to have that aggressive thing, this is the thing that the young black man today is not going to tolerate. My old man tolerated it because his old man tolerated it. It came up for years and years and years.
You niggas tolerated that shit. Keep it a buck. You got on a dashiki and some glasses, and you got a long side part, nigga. You tolerated that shit. I'm not even mad at you, bro. I'm not even trying to throw no slander on your name, but you know, let's be honest. You was tolerating it.
But today, the young black man is not going to take it. He's going to be out there as a leader.
White America has used black women to keep the black male in his place. And you're still aiding it by saying, well, we are qualified, we want to work, we can help.
Okay, how are you going to reprogram men so that they don't let us take over what's supposed to be their responsibility?
Ooh. Now that's the dangerous question now, is it? That is the dangerous question. How are you going to reprogram men to stop letting the women take over? I have some theories on that, but I feel like it would danger the monetization of this show. So we're just going to have to let that one float in the air for a while. But isn't that the issue that we're at right now, right? The women completely understand their positional advantage when it comes to like social dynamics or black women's relationship to the government and whatnot. So it's a taunt in a lot of ways. It's a dare. Like, I dare you to step out of line. I dare you to challenge this system that feeds me at your expense, right? And so it puts black men in a precarious situation, because to go out and actually race war isn't really productive in and of itself, and you just become a statistic and somebody not worth being with in the long run. And so you go out and you embrace productivity and you do what you got to do to make it. And then now, oh, you're not like one of us. You're being like the white man. You're not supposed to be this way. It's a trick bag. The whole thing is a trick bag. And this is why I kind of reject the traditional pro-black framework of the world. Like, white supremacy is not the thing I need to be fighting. Fighting white supremacy only benefits black women. Fighting for patriarchy, fighting for men's dominant role in the family unit, fighting for actual equality between the sexes, because I'm not going to begrudge a woman for her theoretical desire for equality, but I don't want equality that doesn't hurt women's feelings, all right? The idea of equality literally stops at hurting women's feelings. Therefore, it's not a true equality. And I'm okay with true equality because men will be just fine in that scenario. But what we've been doing lately, what we've been doing up until now it's not working. It's just not it.
Fine. We want to work, we can help.
Okay, how are you going to reprogram men so that they don't let us take over what's supposed to be their responsibility? And men that I have had dealings with, they are perfectly willing to sit back and let us do anything we want to.
I don't think that you have to reprogram men. I think you have to reprogram women.
You have to reprogram the men so that they understand their position with women. And frankly, the very order of things needs to be addressed. Like, this is a difficult concept for people to swallow on a modern panel, but from a historical perspective, it's almost the way it's always been, right? As a woman, if you're sleeping with me, if I'm having sex with you, if we're doing things that could lead to you having my baby, I'm your leader. De facto. Literally, upon insertion, I become your king. It's been this way for, since forever, basically. This is where the idea of body count and all that comes from, because, whoever slept with you last, that's who you belong with. We don't think like that anymore. And that simplicity would actually solve a lot of our modern approach to things. But again, we just don't think like that anymore, because women have effectively been, and a lot of black men too, that's why I'm talking about the Freezy panel earlier. A lot of people have been gaslighting the average rank and file black man about just how things really are. And so when it comes to the issue of like male leadership and female submission, my response to that is very base, very simple. The guy you're having sex with is the guy you should be submissive to, right? Because you bend over for him, right? Well, you shouldn't only do it when you're naked. The fact that you only do it when you're naked is why he kind of hates you low key.
No, you have to reprogram the man so that he will forcefully take what belongs to him, because you know women, as long as we can get, we're going to get, and it's part of our being. We're going to do anything to you that you let us, whether we want to or not.
You don't want to live on the level of income that I can afford you.
Now, that line right there, and I want you to take a good look at the face of the woman who just said that word, right? Those words. It is the nature of a woman to do. We can't help it. We will do anything to you that you let us, right? Listen to what she's telling you.
And it's part of our being. We're going to do anything to you that you let us, whether we want to or not.
They cannot help themselves. And as men, nor can we help ourselves from certain things either. And that is the reality, though, between men and women, between the black man and the black woman. I get in trouble with certain people when I, visit these other female-centric channels, like Freezy and them over there. But pretty much most of Black YouTube is this way. But when I start to talk about the kinds of base realities between men and women, it makes people uncomfortable, because to address the truth between men and women is to threaten the forevolution. And no matter what, the forevolution must go on. But that is a simple truth, though. Unless you are willing and capable of subduing her to some capacity, then she won't really acquiesce to you. And we've created a black male R&B culture where, this is the exact criticism I was laying out to I forget what other panel I was on before, but I kept calling niggas romantics. Like, y'all niggas are just romantic. It might have been Freezy and them. Again, I was talking to Taz and all of them that like a couple of weeks ago, but like, your entire approach to the female problem is essentially romantic. You think you just have to figure out the right combination of love maneuvers and she will be loyal forever. And I'm like, nah, I'm starting to think it's a lot more base than that. The power dynamic has to be kind of solid, and there has to be consequences and an order to things. People can break the rules and go off and try again or whatever, but there has to be a general tone of things. And right now, the general tone of things is the black woman is God and whatever she wants is great. And then they wonder why men don't want to participate in this anymore.
You don't want to live on the level of income that I can afford you and love me on the basis of that. You want to always be aspiring to have all those things that's a part of the great middle class white American society. And because I can't deliver these things to you, you say that you are not a man.
I don't measure a man by how much money he can bring home. I measure a man by how he treats me. Whether when I'm tired and I'm sick and I'm scared.
Nowadays, they call this emotional IQ, right?
He's there.
EQ. And the problem with the EQ standard, see, all right, once upon a time, before there was modernity and women having all the jobs and money that they have now, a man protect, provide, and, don't be abusive, right? That was literally the job description, okay? Don't let nothing happen to this woman. Make sure she gets all her eats and her sleeps, put her in a house, something decent, clothes and money, that kind of thing. And, don't punch her in the mouth when she gets a little lippy, because they're girls. They tend to do that from time to time, right? Those simple things, that was the arrangement back then. Now women can manage the majority of that for themselves. And so they give you the EQ. You have to master the concept of EQ. If you're not an EQ professional, then you can't unchain my heart, and I will forever be a mystery to you. And it's such bull. It really is a stupid concept. Like, you are really basing the parameters of emotional stability. I mean, I'm sorry, you're basing the parameters of relationship stability on what's effectively her emotional state. That is always a losing situation. If the core of the relationship is her emotional state, then you're always going to be a baby mama, because women are always going to want to find something new and run off and try it over because this nigga not listening, he don't want to do right or whatever. It's just the way they think, especially in the modern world. And so what are you supposed to do with that kind of thing, right? I'm not pretending to have answers or nothing. I'm just posing a question. You guys come up with your own answers, with your own solutions. The solution is out there if you look for it.
Can somebody tell me how is it possible that I've been married for 15 years and I can't get my wife to cook for me on a regular basis? She won't do my feet, because, black women don't do feet, all right? She just won't do that, all right? And she's not very friendly in the morning. How is it I go to my friend's house, right? And he's a Caucasian man, and his wife's sister automatically caters to me. Oh, Mr. Joe, are you hungry, thirsty, all of those kind of things. We go to the pool, this woman sees my feet and asks me that I want a pedicure. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. In all seriousness, what man in his right mind does not like it when a
Damn, you get free pedicures with a marriage? I ain't even know that. I could use a little touch up. Damn, that's crazy.
woman is catering to his needs, especially if it helps out his health, right? Because I really do got bad feet. I know nobody wants to hear this. But in the same breath, I have a wife at home who never asks me if I ate while I was out. My food is not warm when I come home. And I pay the bills in this mother. No BS. A Caucasian lady sees me for more than 2 hours and automatically caters to me.
Friedman, I didn't know, bro. I did not know. I apologize, Friedman Journal. I was unfamiliar with your game, sir. I did not know that marriage came with an occasional foot job, foot rub, but a pedicure. That's the word for it, pedicure. I didn't know. I got to read the fine print. I tell you. Niggas, man, we don't never read the fine print.
I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I stay with my woman, or do I pursue something that might actually like me back? It's a tough one, man, because I always preach black love and all that good stuff.
Ladies, I want listen to this, right? You can lose your husband of 15 years over a foot rub. Think about that for a minute.
And he's a Caucasian man, and his wife's sister automatically caters to me. Oh, Mr. Joe, are you hungry, thirsty, all of those kind of things. We go to the pool, this woman sees my feet and asks me that I want a pedicure. Now, hear me out.
That's all it took. That's all it took. Now he's literally doing the internet meme. All right, hear me out. Hear me out. You guys seen the internet meme? Guy post a picture of a chick that's a little bit, just hear me out though. Hear me out though. I can definitely make this work. All it took was one white girl to offer to touch his.
When I die, I'ma go to Snow Bunny Heaven. Snow Bunny Heaven.
Nigga found Snow Bunny Heaven right on the same block, bro. That's crazy. She just offered to touch his feet. Now he like, hear me out. Hear me out. He about to go home to his wife. Like, hear me out for a minute, all right? Because you don't even be trying to touch my feet.
Hear me out. In all seriousness, what man in his right mind does not like it when a woman is catering to his needs, especially if it helps out his health, right? Because I really do got bad feet. I know nobody wants to hear this. But in the same breath, I have a wife at home who never asks me if I ate while I was out. My food is not warm when I come home. And I pay the bills in this mother. No BS. A Caucasian lady sees me for more than 2 hours.
You see, you know what's crazy about the whole home dynamic thing? And let's assume we're talking about the actual housewife model, right? Because the 50-50 conversation messes this whole thing up. And there's practicality to it. I'm not going to get into it. But so you have a housewife, you pay the bills, as you say, right? You are the white husband. You have the white man style relationship, right? I pay the bills, I make the rules, I want what I want. Now, as women, as black women rather, you are already out of bounds by even wanting what you want, right? But this is literally the charge. You want what the white man wants. And he's literally in that mode. He's witnessed it. He's seen it firsthand. His friend, his homie, his neighbor down the street got it. And he wants it. And the thing is, there's nothing in his world to tell him that he doesn't deserve it. Every other white guy can get it. How come I can't get it? It's because I'm black? That's kind of racist. That feels oddly racist. I don't know how to call black women racist in this context, but the whole thing just feels oddly racist to me. He can't get what the white man get because he a black man. He got everything the white man got, but he can't get what the white man get because he a black man. That's just systemic racism, man. I tell you, man, systemic racism be killing me.
My food is not warm when I come home. And I pay the bills in this mother. No BS. A Caucasian lady sees me for more than 2 hours and automatically caters to me. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I stay with my woman or do I pursue something that might actually like me back?
Decisions, brother. You're gonna have to think that one through, man. Let the church guide you in your struggles.
When I die, I'ma go to Snow Bunny Heaven. Snow Bunny Heaven.
If you don't think about you, if you don't want what's best for you, then who else will? Maybe that white girl, though. I don't know. Go explore it.
It's a tough one, man, because I always preach black love and all that good stuff. But boy, this is making it hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is tough for me.
Yeah, shout out to the Caucasian ladies out there. Give him a break, man. Give him a break. He's new to white adjacency, man. He's dipping his toe in for the first time.
Wow. The woman cooked. Woman gave me a pedicure by the pool. The woman went to the dispensary.
Oh, nah, that's cheating. That's cheating. That's basically a body. She did your toes. She made you food. And she went and bought you some drugs. Oh, bro, that's basically a body right there. You might as well go all the way in, bro. You got the casket with no body, man. You might as well go and put a body in that, man.
Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is tough for me. Wow. The woman cooked. Woman gave me a pedicure by the pool. The woman went to the dispensary. And she made the drinks and all that good stuff. And she was smiling while she was doing it.
And she was happy to do that. Oh, man, that nigga ain't coming back. God damn, we lost one. We lost. Well, let me not say we, right? Nigga ain't fucking me. Ladies, y'all lost one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I be wanting to root for y'all, but y'all lost one, man. To a foot rub. You hear me? To a foot rub. You can't be out here losing men to a damn foot rub. What's wrong with y'all?
I want what you white hoes get, and I want it today, ASAP, not tomorrow.
It's tragedy, man. That's tragedy. I want better for y'all. I do. I want better for y'all, but y'all can't be out here losing your mans to a foot rub. Doesn't say it doesn't speak highly of the brand. You know what I mean? You could just lose the nigga with a foot rub. He gone. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Oh, wow. The woman cooked. Woman gave me a pedicure by the pool. The woman went to the dispensary. And she made the drinks and all that good stuff. And she was smiling while she was doing it. I had to get the hell out of there. Because if I'd have stayed any longer, boy, ain't no telling what would have happened. So when my wife comes home from work, things got to change around here. Seriously. Because now I see how a woman...
Nigga said things got to change around. Oh, he said things got to change around here. No. He said, I want what the white man got. That's all. He feel like Shorty right here, though.
I want what you white hoes get, and I want it today, ASAP, not tomorrow.
Then came home to his wife like, I want what the white man get, and I want it today, ASAP, not tomorrow. What have I been saying all this time on this panel? You're going to respect me like you respect the white man, or it's going to be some furniture moving around here. I don't see any other way. You're going to tell me I do all the things that get the white man some respect and some foot rubs, and I can't get no respect and I can't get no foot rub. You can't smile in my face while you get the grout between my pinky toes. Oh, no. Oh, no. We got to redo this whole deal. There is no way. You can't even smile in my face while you massage my big toe.
These blacks.
Woman is supposed to be treating a man and vice versa. And whoa. Huh. I'm not getting nothing less than that, or I'm getting a divorce. So I don't know what you guys' thoughts and opinion on this, but if my wife don't step it up, it's over.
All right, you gotta change your smoke detector first, though. I tell you, I know you're new trying to slide into the white box, but you know, bring some 9-volt batteries with you, brother. Bring some batteries with you. It will help you. I promise. I promise it'll help you. Now let's jump over here to these niggas. Goodness gracious, this conversation.
Hey, boom, you in Miami, y'all cool, boom. And that's where a lot of people don't understand my dynamic. I pour myself into women more so than men.
Okay.
And
now Cam Newton is such a terrible nigga to be having these relationship conversations with. One, I mean, it's not just because he's like wealthy and he's a celebrity and all that, because that whole lifestyle is just atypical. You are extremely far removed from the average person's experience, you and the women you deal with, right? But then also on top of that, Cam Newton is just an ironic, mixed up type of dude. Like this, he's an odd guy. Can't really base a lot around the shit he say.
Need it. You feel what I'm saying? Because I'm going everywhere, but I'm trying to bring us back. Being in my position when you're the person everybody pulls from, your charging station for me has always been women.
But that's why there's this thing and there's this balance. Like, I'm the one in my family that takes care of everybody, all the family. And the thing is,
hey, Wayne, I mean, Woody, that name is going to stick. That name stick. I'm trying to tell you, that was the best thing I ever did over there. Gave that man a title, and I never come back. Now he just stalks me angrily everywhere I go.
when you come home, you want to be, like you said, your charging station.
Yeah.
That's your charging station. You want someone to pour into you and to give that to you and this and that. What I think is happening with women right now, can we be honest about what women are dealing with?
Yeah.
Women are making more money than men.
Mm-hmm. That's challenging.
Yes,
that
women,
challenges the
if you're going
normalcy.
to bring me...
It also upsets the traditional dynamic. I don't think that women, as a species, women were never meant to be more capable than men. Women were never meant to produce as much as men. And technically they still don't. But we have a government and a system that will make up the gap in a huge way. So even the average broke woman is wealthier than her male equivalent because she has the government to back her up in a way that he just cannot expect.
Hell, and I can pay my own bills. It's not worth it. Women are going through this whole different thing of, you know, what it is. Like, I see my parents who've been together forever. I get to witness a traditional, you know, old school type of love. But nowadays, what we're witnessing city girls, we're witnessing this and that. And it's like the genders are doing this.
Clashing.
And it's like a hot topic.
And you know, and this is kind of where I was kind of jumping into the fire with Freezy and them today. It's not really the men who've broken pattern. Like, name me the male equivalent to 40 years or well, to 100 years of feminism, right? Because feminism came along in like the late 1890s. What is the male equivalent to 100 years of feminism? And so the notion that we are equally culpable in the falling off the path, I just completely reject that. Men did not want to be free from the family unit. Women literally call the family unit slavery so they could justify breaking it.
And this and that. Yeah, it's cute. It's a hot topic. But it is really destroying families. When I go, okay, think about this. Being in Nashville all this time, well, being in Atlanta all this time and then going to Nashville where it's predominantly white. One, they go home at 5 and 6 o'clock when they're producing because they go home to their families. Being a country singer, if you are a singer in country music, you're a man. If you are not married, it is not respected. Family is respected in country music.
But do the women in Black America respect family the same way that you're noticing in country music? Because she's about to do something right now. We're going to get to it in a minute, but the whole thing is crazy.
In that space. But in our space, we are singing about side chicks. We are glorifying a lot of women. That's not what happens in Nashville. You can't call a woman a bitch, a hoe in Nashville because they'll never even listen to your music and your professional career will suffer. At what point in the Black community do our men create real homes? And even talking, just our first time talking, and you said you didn't even mean for that to happen. Life happens.
Now, she's putting it on the men to create real homes, but the last several generations of Black female culture has been moving so that women can actually live independent from men. You know, I point this out to you, the government itself kind of exists to help women live independent from men. And so now that women have all their rights and all their abilities and privileges that allow them to live independent from men, they want to look across at the man and say, well, how come you haven't made a home for me? This is bull. And this is why I kind of wanted to do this content today, because like, you can't blame men. This is the reason why the whole Manosphere thing exists, because men are tired of being blamed for the outcomes of decisions women make. And especially when men have no rightful authority to stop them from making these decisions. That's it. If you're free, then you got to own the other half of this problem.
I'm not here to judge life. I'm looking at a successful Black man that has the ability to literally turn the narrative on Black family. You know? And my grandfather, I watched my uncles and everything. My whole family, they're married. I'm not the girl who didn't see what a man creating a Black family is supposed to be.
And everybody outside of the manosphere or red pill content in general, their only approach to this problem is always to address the male side of the equation. We always put more pressure on the men, and we never address female agency. And then we never address the issue of female desire and choice. Because no matter what they say, what they do looks totally different from what they say. And if they wanted the outcomes that they talk about, they would be doing things differently. And so now that they're in a place where they haven't gotten the outcomes that they talk about, somehow the men have to hold the ball. Somehow the men have to carry the water because you made all the decisions you made, and now your life looks the way it looks, and you want to be mad at somebody.
I'm done. I'm done with life, and it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault.
So I'm asking right now, black men, and I tell my black men to really step up for black women.
And then she threw the fake tears out. So of course I took it personal. What you crying for? Really, what you crying for? I bet you if I were to ask you about all the men in your past, there's at least one husband in there. But here you now crying in my face.
And I tell my black men to really step up for black women and create families.
Yeah.
It's really not cool. Black men are attacking black women. And it's not a cool, they're not creating homes.
Right, because it's all one-sided, right? We just out here. We're on the internet with baseball bats like Negan. Just out here with bats, just cracking upside the head, right?
They're creating babies everywhere. It's not cool. And
whatever you do, don't stare into the chest. If you stare into the chest for too long, you start to simp. Don't stare at the chest, all right? Look her in her eyes. You have to maintain stalely focused eye contact. If you start drifting downwards, you're going to start thinking there's a possibility there.
And I'm asking you, other successful black men, to be, you have to set an example as leads.
I like how Cam Newton just sitting there puffing on his cigar with his legs crossed. Like, I would never rescue you. Like, his whole body language says, I'm not coming to help. And I like that. But other than that, though, he doesn't really do a great job of defending the male side of the argument, though. And especially the fact that she just threw all the weight on the men. Like, you didn't even spend your career making trash black female music, making single woman anthems and all that stuff. No. You're gonna be just fine.
The cute social media back and forth on black women. Black women are strong. Black women are where you come from, this and that.
If you're strong, why are you crying? Really, if you're strong, why are you crying? Don't cry, be strong.
So there probably isn't any sympathy for you and just life happening because there's so many other things around you going on.
No, black men are tired of being told to have sympathy for black women when there's little to none that goes around for us, right? Whatever happens to you, and you got to deal with it. But talk to her nice, right? No, it's just not a fair deal. We actually are people too, you know, we want things too.
That are not fair to black women. What is going on with the black family? We are consistently creating the cycle of kids who can't come home and see their daddy there. And they see their mama sad at night.
You know, I make this point when I get into these debates, or when this particular issue would come up. And again, you know, I try to make things simple because that's how my mind works. I like to simplify the equation and then solve for X, right? A teacher told me that a long time ago. It's been working out. It's been working wonders for my whole life. If Black women wanted that, they would have to behave in a different way. And so if you don't get the output, you have to examine your input. It's really not that complicated.
At what point is the successful Black man in this world going to step in and really create structure? I see white men doing it every day.
And here we go. I see white men doing it every day. If you want what white women want, if you want what white women have, you have to do what white women do.
I want what you white hoes get, and I want it today, ASAP, not tomorrow.
And this is really the most off-putting element of this conversation. I wish I could pause the clip for you. Look her in her eyes as she demands you to provide her all the trinkets and the charmings and the trappings of white womanhood. Look her deep in her eye as she demands you to do this for her.
I want what you white hoes get, and I want it today, ASAP, not tomorrow.
You know, when I joined Freezy's panel earlier today, right? I think I kind of low-key pissed him off too, because something was said. There was a tone that was taken on that show that made me say, you know what? Now I got to come up here and start some trouble. But basically, what I accused Freezy of doing earlier today was attempting to bully Black men into loving Black women. That was my entire charge. You can yell and talk all that fly shit all you want, but then, you know, don't act like we somehow, you know, we bros or whatever. We, you know, you care for my best interests and all that, but you basically trying to bully me into, you know, loving Black women. You can't bully your brother into loving your sisters, bro. That's just not how the game works. You know what I mean? That's just not how things are set up to be played. And so, like, it kind of got personal after that. Actually, let's jump to that real quick.
With a total of $170. Go ahead, Hood Servitor. And shout out to my home.
Good morning.
Next level in the building. Good morning, bro. My bad.
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy Father's Day, everybody. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Good morning.
I think. Hey, listen, I know I'm going to be the bad guy, so I'm going to be nice and you know, be polite as soon as I start off. But I think we have a problem that you guys are unwilling to address from your position, which is even on Father's Day, like, it's supposed to be our day, and we can't hold back from shitting on men. And I think it's an awkward situation to be in where there is almost nothing offered to the men. Why is it that, especially among the people who would be like pro-Black leaning, I care about the community, I want us to be good for us, why do these type of people have no chill when it comes to talking to or about Black men? Do you suppose you can bully your brothers into loving your sisters better? I don't understand this approach.
Can I ask who you may be
hold on. Let me say this.
Because
so what?
Now, why would I say that, right? Let's go back a little bit. Maybe I should give y'all the intro to why I would say that. Let me go back just a minute or so. No, not there, not there.
What?
Dude, I'm just saying, like,
for each other, and no matter how many times you fall, you're gonna get back up. But these dudes gotta understand, it starts with you. How are you gonna ask her to do something that you yourself can't do?
Man, it's a new sheriff in town. It's a new sheriff in town. Damn that.
He's the new sheriff in town. You know, a couple years ago in the Manosphere, they came up with this term called the Highlander syndrome, where every nigga that comes across this space, they act as if they're the one nigga that somehow solved the riddle of life. I am the Highlander. There can be only one. He's the latest Highlander.
You can't.
Tired of these lame. I'm tired of these. I'm tired of these dudes. I'm just these dudes. I'm just saying, like it's time for men to actually actualize positive results. These conversations, here's the thing, right? And I love all my brothers and sisters, even the haters, right? I love all my, everybody know, if you knew the Freezy channel, the No Cap crew will inform you. I'm always screaming over here. This me in real life. People will tell you in real life, this is how I am in real life. I'm just very animated. I'm very passionate about what I'm talking about. It doesn't mean that I'm mad. Trust me, you don't have that much power.
Oh, wait, so I didn't go back far enough. Hold up.
Right? But after I said all of that, Freezer, how you made that happen? How were you and your wife able to do that? But you know why they ain't gonna ask me that? Because they don't want it. They don't want it. They want to continue to say, yo, but Freezer, that ain't possible in America. I just showed you it's possible in America because I'm a living example. But they're not gonna accept that because they want to stay in doom and gloom.
Yes, I think that's a huge part of it.
But they don't want it. They ain't gonna accept that because for one, most of them is haters, and they don't want to give me credit. They don't want to say, "But damn, how Freezy got this going on in his house?"
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to say that because they hate. First of all, you need to get that hate out your heart, right? Get that hate out your heart and that bitterness, and say and give your brother credit. And say, "Damn, we got a brother in Freezy that's doing it successfully. How did he do it?" Now, when I tell you,
I have a solution. I know it sounds crazy, but it just might work. We're going to all marry Freezy's wife. Problem solved, right? I know it was crazy, but I know if we all work together, it just might work. And then we can all be happy and successful like Freezy.
Tell you, you ain't going to want to do it because you ain't going to want to do it just because Freezy told you. Because like you got too much pride.
Hate is it runs deep.
Yeah, that's why you got to leave these clowns alone. Because guess what? Because they want to stay right there. They want to wallow in that, and they want to just spew out these damn satanic statistics.
That's when I really started cracking up in the chat. Satanic statistics. The numbers are from the devil. And you know, it's ironic that he says satanic statistics, literally implying the numbers are from the devil. Well, think about the logic of Black culture, right? Those are the white man's numbers, and the white man is the devil.
You teach me all my life that the white man is the devil? Come on, you teach me my whole life that the white man is the devil. Now you tell me it's all right for him to come among us.
That's literally what just played out right here. These white man numbers and stuff.
That's what they want to do. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You think I give a damn what these people think? Man, I'm happily married and my wife is too. You can't change that. Catch up. That's all I can tell you. Catch up.
Now, the thing is, he's yelling at men right now because he cares about the interest of women. And so he's doing it on behalf of women. He's not necessarily caring about the interest of men or caring about the interest of his brothers and all of that, which is why I joined the panel and I start to say the kinds of things that I had to say, because I'm like, well, bruh, you obviously got some type of issue here. There's clearly an issue. We got some things going on here that need to be drawn out.
But hood servitor. And shout out to
Thank
my
you.
home
Good morning.
Next level in the building.
Even on Father's Day, like it's supposed to be our day, and we can't hold back from shitting on men. And I think it's an awkward situation to be in where there is almost nothing offered to the men. Why is it that, especially among the people who would be like pro-black leaning, I care about the community, I want us to be good for us, why do these type of people have no chill when it comes to talking to or about black men? Do you suppose you can bully your brothers into loving your sisters better? I don't understand this approach.
Can I ask?
And I realized over the years about shout out to the White Wakandan there. If you're gonna panel bomb, it has to be a stealth raid. You can't just come in kicking down the doors. You know, you got to be like the next generation Terminators. You know, the ones with the real good skin and they smell like people. You have to be able to blend in like the Terminator bot, and then Operation Chaos.
Who you may
Wait,
be
hold on. Let me say this.
Because
So what made you think we was trying to bully men into loving women?
Well,
what
like I said, I don't understand your approach, and not just today, but as a broad concept, because from what I'm hearing is the men have nothing to complain about. You should just step up and do better.
No, you didn't answer my question. You just made the statement in the chat, and
Earlier today you were yelling at the guys, and I know you weren't necessarily being, you're doing for the show, but it's not just you. This is a tone that's across the board in these type of conversations.
What guy?
Well, whatever you were talking about, some dude in the chat you were having a back and forth with, and then you just start yelling about these men. I'm sick of these men. These men need to do this. These men need to do that. And again, Freezy, it's bigger than just you. This is a general tone that gets taken when men have things to say.
Okay, so context. Do you think context matters?
Well, what's the context of your context? What are you even saying?
Did you see the chats that I was highlighting?
I was here, yeah.
Okay, did you see the chats that I was referring to?
I was here, yeah.
Okay, so if you seen the chat that I was referring to, that guy, or I don't even know if it's a guy, it was an avatar, right? They were saying things, right, that I responded to, in contrary to what I was saying, right? If you've been listening to the show thus far, I've actually been giving real answers and solutions on how men can cultivate better families and marriages. Right? I've been saying these things.
And again, another issue that I take with this whole frame is that all the solutions have to be lectured to the men, as if somehow the men have broken protocols, somehow the men have refused to do what they were supposed to be doing traditionally. But everything around us objectively tells us that it's women who have been breaking the protocols. Women want modernity. Women want the modern privileges. They want liberalism. They want to, break the patriarchy and all this stuff, right? But somehow it's men who are broken and need to be fixed.
Right? So not one time have I tried to bully men into loving women. If you were here earlier, you would have caught the segment where I actually said, if you have changed your life as a man, right? Not only did I say this, I backed it up with scripture. If you have changed your life as a man and you've decided to follow the Most High God. Now that might not be what you subscribe to, and I respect that, right? But I said
You know, I hate when people try to like beat you over the head with religion. And as much as I may be sympathetic to the religious principles, like I don't want to argue standing on the Bible. I don't want to beat you up with the Bible.
If you have changed your life as a man and made a decision to change your life for the better, you shouldn't listen to a woman. You should listen to God. I said that. And I also said you should, once you change your life and develop standards for yourself as a man, I also said you should only give your time to women that are worthy of your time. Did anybody hear me say that on the panel?
Mm-hmm.
If the Manosphere is explaining why they deem the majority of Black women unworthy of their time, then you got to accept that as it is, because that's what you just said you support. But here you are yelling and screaming and huffing and puffing because these niggas don't want to do what they supposed to do.
Yes, you did multiple times.
Yes. Anybody hear me say that in the chat?
Yes.
So this is the problem. What you just did was try to clip and shape what I said into simply bullying men into loving women. And this is the problem I have with guys like you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Amen.
Why you did that was to...
You hear this church behind him? Amen. He got him a congregation and a chorus, a choir.
The reason why you did that was to create your own narrative to further your agenda, because you have one.
Don't we all though?
No, I don't have an agenda, bro.
Don't
I
you
just
want
love
people
my
to get
brothers
married and be
sisters.
happy? That's an agenda.
Listen, bro. I don't have an agenda. I just want to see us do better. I say this all the time. I'm not team woman. I'm not team man. I'm team right.
Exactly.
Perhaps, but somehow you think the men are in the wrong, and that's where the conversation starts to happen. Because, and I'm gonna maybe leave this now. We're gonna go back to the K Michelle thing in a second, but a point I had to bring up on this panel is the women have effectively been able to one-side the argument and basically cast the narrative over Black men. You know, you run away from your family, you don't take care of your kids, you don't do right by the women, you beat up all the women. And then you start pouring in the stats and you start to find out, and not just the stats, but then the years later when we have like social media and women can give their testimony with TikTok and Instagram and all that, you start to find out women are making incredible decisions that the men have no power to stop. And so the men are effectively just trying to keep up with the women who they have no authority to control. There is no ability that the man has legally to wrangle a woman in. And so you can hope that you chose well and chose wisely, but the very pool of women to choose from, if you're choosing wisely, is drastically smaller than what you just generally have in the normal Black American public. And so you're putting the men in a problem that they really can't solve individually. But, you know, again, no matter what happens, it's always Jermaine's fault because, you know, who else are you really going to blame here, right? Anyway.
Right? So if you would have actually heard me earlier quote what I said earlier, you would not have made that negligent comment saying
So
that
what were you
I'm
yelling
trying to
about?
bully men into loving women.
What were you yelling about then, since I'm so off base?
Because I yelled, nigga, what the hell wrong with you?
No, I know, I don't care that you yelled, but what were
why
you
you-
saying?
why you keep
What were the
emphasizing
words? What were the words that you saying? It doesn't matter your tone or your volume. The
You know,
words
you
that
can
you
play
said,
the video
bro.
back just like everyone else. You can see what he said. He just clarified
He-
what he
I just
said.
told you.
I get to witness the best of both worlds every day. Getting on stage singing R&B, being here in Atlanta, I get to sing R&B, but then I get to go to Nashville and be like, you mean you ain't staying out till 6 in the morning? You gonna go home to your family? You gonna write this song and leave at 5 and 6 because you gonna take care of your family and your wife? At what point do the successful black men build black families? We ain't gonna ever have a black family if y'all don't do it. We're never gonna have it.
Why is it only the quote successful black men though? Like, and this is a weird thing that women do, and that's why I called it like alpha fallacy. You know, they can only, I mean, apex fallacy. They can only focus on the, you know, the men at the top of the pyramid. They don't seem to understand that average regular guys exist too, and average women have to be able to cooperate with average men so that they can raise children successfully. And what seems to be the problem more often than not is average women are just finding the average men unsatisfactory to one degree or another.
It's just not going to happen. So if your mentality is, yes, things happen, and I'm not knocking you for that. I didn't come here for that. But at what point do you take that black woman? Do you be at a home and show your kids what it's like, you know? At what point do you take a grip to it, not make excuses for it or mantras and things like that? It is so unfair to.
Now it's unfair. You want what the white community has, and all of a sudden life is unfair.
Or mantras and things like that. It is so unfair to black women who have been the strength and builders of so many things. And I know life happens. You can't be with somebody you don't want to be with or whatever. But my grandparents did it.
What'd your grandmother do? Yeah, your grandfather, he did all these things. Yeah. But what did grandma do? She had a role to play too, right? She wasn't just there licking the wallpaper, right? Like she did things too, right?
My grandfather, 92, died when he was 92, my best friend. I never seen another type of man. That's why I've turned down 3 rings. Because they
3. Uno, dos, tres. 3 rings.
That's why I've turned down 3 rings. Because they wasn't like my grandpa. My grandfather raised 9 kids on his own because my grandmama died before I could even meet her.
Okay, so grandma was dead, so she had a different kind of situation. It was a little bit atypical.
What point are our black men?
And then, you know, notice grandma wasn't even around to do anything, right? So grandpa can only be great in her eyes because grandma wasn't around. Because generally speaking, black women don't talk about grandpa all that often. This is a very ironic thing to hear from a black woman. It's typically the mom of the family, the grandmother or whatever, that gets all the praise and the props and the respect.
Going to stop the bullshit, the social media shit and all of that, and build black homes. If we don't build black homes, we can't depend on white folk to build black homes. So when you see somebody like your significant other who clearly loves you, and
black men don't know how clear that is. It's hard really for men to trust the concept of a woman's love at this point in the game. That's where it all falls apart, honestly.
And it's all these black women rooting for her, rooting for you. They want you to build a black home. That's their anger. They don't know you. They can't judge you for anything else. They want you being who you are, being attractive, being successful. They want you to take hold. And
notice what she's saying here. She's talking to Cam Newton as like an avatar for all the successful black men, right? So 80-20 rule. You can't all marry the rich guy. There aren't enough rich guys to go around. And even if there were, they wouldn't all want you. Most of them wouldn't want you. None of them, honestly, would want you. But you know, that's too mean. We shouldn't say things like that because girls don't like to hear things like that, right?
And solidify and build a black home. That's not saying you're not taking care of the kids you have, because clearly you are, and you love your kids. Taking care of your kids and building a home is two different things. At what point are we going to stop these back and forths? Oh, this type of woman don't say nothing to me about that. Well, guess what? You're just weak. Like, you want a strong woman around you. And I'm sorry, like, black women have just, that we get copied from hair to body to everything. Black women are the most unloved individuals in America, but the ones who have built.
The most mimicked.
Most mimic. Good or bad mimic, you know? But we looking to you. We looking to you. A successful black man, we are looking to you to change the narrative. And when you don't, it becomes, go on that show and tear his ass up.
Gaslighting. Gaslighting. Where is all the evidence that black women actually do look to black men for leadership? Like, women get on these panels and most women, you know, are just what you expect in your normal dealings, right? A little bit of difficulty, not necessarily going to be direct in the truth or whatever, or the uncomfortable truth rather. But every now and then you'll get the full-blown gaslighting woman, right? And they'll say stuff like that, like black women are out here trying and they want to make it work with a black man, and y'all just don't do this and y'all just don't do that. And you know, they can say those things, but the problem is the men just aren't feeling it anymore. The men are looking for the love and the reciprocity and all that, and they're just determining that it is just not there. And that's not a man problem, honestly. That's a problem for women to address. You know, I keep making this economic metaphor or whatever, but if nobody's shopping in your store, then you have to adjust the merchandise. You have to change the presentation. Something in your store needs to change. You can't blame the customers because they don't want to shop in your store anymore.
I received that, and nothing but a white flag, because I have been guilty. But if we're going to have this conversation, how we need to have this conversation, just like you're holding me accountable.
Hold me accountable.
I need black women to hold themselves.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Because that's where
women holding themselves accountable is never going to happen. It's difficult enough for men to hold themselves accountable, but we know we have to make a whole culture out of it and punch each other in the face and stuff like that. Men waiting for women to hold themselves accountable as it regards to how women actually operate and relate to men, never, ever gonna happen. And why would they? Because they're winning.
That's where it's to, you know, tear his at. But then I got my brothers, it's like, keep it real. Now here. The point that I was making earlier was when me and Jazz was dating, one of the most memorable.
See, this is where Cam Newton kind of goes crazy. Explaining and defending his own lives and his own choices and all that. Don't make the argument about you personally. Don't make it about K. Michelle personally either, for that matter, because it's bigger than just you and I and what we've done in our lives. And, you know, maybe people want to use us for examples of things, and that's inescapable, but he's doing a terrible thing right now, trying to defend his personal life to her. God knows K. Michelle is not the one to be arguing for how black men have been doing bad.
Conversations that we had was, my heart goes out to Kia.
And yeah, and shout out to True Hype for the $2 super chat. Hit that like button, y'all. Support the show. Thanks for the super chat. K Michelle got hella nerve being so messy herself. But you know, I'm not into the pop culture stuff. Like, I don't know every bit of K Michelle's business anymore. But we know K Michelle trifling. Come on, man. And you still had 3 niggas propose to you. So don't act like niggas ain't try to build a family with you.
That's what she told me.
And that's real, right?
No, it's real, right?
Okay.
But here it goes. You seen Friday After Next. And you're like, you don't know Baby D. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that's the little boy in me.
Yeah.
You feel me? And stay with me. And I'm like, you don't know Kia. Keep her name out your mouth.
Okay.
I was in defense mode. As we kept dating, she said it again.
And see, this is Cam like defending and explaining. This is him just talking about himself because he likes to talk about himself. So not the point anymore. But the whole problem of K Michelle making this tearful, impassioned plea to black men, like, oh, if you would just do these things, like, we desperately need you to do these things. All right, well, you know what? Black men desperately need black women to do some things too. And we need to talk, because otherwise things ain't gonna get done. And that's kind of where the Manosphere stepped in, because the Manosphere was making that problem obvious. Like, you're asking for things and I'm not getting things in return, and I'm just not gonna do this any longer. And then guys like FD Signifier take issue with that.
Parenting that says that you shouldn't address your children's negative behaviors when you're angry. And since all of these Manosphere niggas are my sons now, I felt it best to cut a part of my last video.
Disrespectful too. And this is kind of what I meant when I was talking to Freezy. Like, bro, it's not just you here yelling on your panel. Like, there is a general tone of hostility and disrespect toward the rank and file black man who seems to take issue with the general nature of things. Like, you obviously want something from them, right? You want something from the men. Even if it's on behalf of the women, even if you're speaking for the betterment of women and you love women more than you love black men. Because, you know, FD Signifier definitely made that known that, you know, he's definitely in this because he cares more for the black women than he does for the black men, right?
But I want to address this simping allegation. Do I simp for black women? Yes. I love black women. I don't like y'all niggas. This is an easy decision to make. Sorry.
Now, somehow the niggas who line up like that, they think that the thing that's going to help them get what they want for black women is to be harsh to black men. Like I said, you can't bully your brothers into loving your sisters, bro. You gotta figure it out.
Because it may have gotten a little too spicy. What the fuck is wrong with y'all niggas? Seriously, disengage, touch grass, go to therapy, and you might end up getting some. You might. So now, having calmed down and gotten.
And again, only women think that giving some niggas some coochie is gonna solve his life problems. Because women have that, you know, belief in the power of their coochie. And I like that for them. I want them to have that confidence. I know better.
All the negativity out my system. I'm hoping to have a meaningful conversation about what misogyny is and what it does to people. So let's go. As I looked at different responses to my last video, one criticism I got was that the y'all niggas hate women response is lame and oversimplistic and allegedly false. And that's wrong. And I don't believe that, but I do want to dig deeper into why I came to that conclusion and why some of y'all think that this hatred of women stuff is not true for you. Now, for some of you red pill adjacent types, this may not.
Now, again, his focus is on hatred of women, right? But again, how are we hating women by noticing how much the women and some of you niggas actually hate?
But I want to address this simping allegation. Do I simp for black women? Yes. I love black women. I don't like y'all niggas. This is an easy decision to make. Sorry.
And so now you got a lot of dudes who are online noticing and vocalizing their dislike of this weird hostile energy that you just always project toward like men at large because you got problems with something that allegedly happened in the past.
But for probably more of you, let's just chat for a second and see if anything I say strikes a nerve. I'm gonna try my best. To get it out the way early, for those of you who've been watching Manosphere content since like 2010, this video isn't for you. You can watch it, obviously, but like I'm not about to say anything that is gonna in any way change your mind. I'm not gonna say you're a lost cause, because anyone can change and there's always opportunity to change the direction that you're going in if you have breath in your body. But I know that some of y'all are not here to really listen, and I'm not really in a position to have an effect on how you move or understand the world at this point. But for those of
Yeah, I'm actually not here to listen to you. I'm here to analyze, and those are two different things.
you that don't want to be watching Manosphere content for 15 years, like a real comment I saw on someone's video the other day, been watching such and such for 15 years, which is sad. If you don't want to be in the same angry position you are now when you're pushing 40, you may find something useful here. So let's rapport build first. Here's what I think I hear from some folks when they respond negatively to my criticism around misogyny and red pill nonsense.
What I think I hear. There's a weird level of psychoanalysis that these guys try to do. Like you say, I don't like the way she talks to me. And what they hear is, so you want to fight this woman, is what I'm hearing. Like they do this weird psychoanalysis thing that, you know, it totally poisons the well of conversation when you try to approach them honestly.
So one is that people are saying they're just calling women out for their toxic behavior. Two, modern women, this and that, modern dating, this and that. Three, oh, but hypergamy and stuff. Four, because I have 4 fingers up, but I wasn't on 4 yet. I don't know what I did there. 4 is misandry, of course. And 5, fair is fair. If I talk to women like some of y'all talk to us, there would be hell to pay. And all of these points I'm hearing can, in some context, under certain circumstances,
Was
be
I just
taken at
muted up? Damn it, I was muted up. Anyway, continuing.
face value. I can't imagine what it's like to date right now. It sounds fucking horrible. And I know this, hearing it not just from y'all, but from other men my age who are recently divorced or never married and are still dating. Shit sounds bad. And I know that's not a one-way thing. I know that's not.
Now, notice this, right?
But from other men my age who are recently divorced or never married and are.
You have friends that are recently divorced. I wonder what that's like. I want, you know, notice he doesn't talk about that sort of thing, it seems.
Still dating.
Makes videos about Beyonce.
Shit sounds bad. And I know that's not a one-way thing. I know that's not just all men, right? And I know part of the frustration, especially with dating app stuff, is that the way that people are allowed to talk about men who don't have money or who don't have, you know, who aren't providers or whatever else can feel icky and frustrating and dehumanizing. There's a ton of negative rhetoric toward men who don't exhibit a certain commodifiable masculinity, who aren't high value.
Now, I think this is what people call like the sandwich method. You know, I'm going to pretend to acknowledge some of the things that you say, but in reality, I'm going to tell you why everything that you say is actually bullshit. And then I'm going to pretend to acknowledge you again and then bye. It's like salesman methods, like cheap used car salesmanship.
There are women who hate men. There are black women who hate men. There are online communities and YouTube and TikTok channels dedicated for shitting on black men.
What if it's not even important that there are women who hate men? What if that's not even the problem? What if the problem is a system, the same system that you claim is white supremacy is actually female dominance, right? That system actually uplifts and supports women while at the same time holding men back and taxing men. What if that's actually the problem? It's not really that women hate men. What if women wouldn't even think of hating men if they didn't have the government to back them up?
I'm not saying those things don't exist. I've talked about them before. I'm talking about them again a little bit today. And it's very clear that black men who transgress against society in some way get a ton of negative attention, and nobody seems to blink an eye about it. Worse, there are TikTokers and YouTubers who build whole platforms reacting to this stuff, and it feels like you're being purposely torn down. And while most of those divestor adjacent channels are very small and insignificant compared to, say, a DJ Academics or an Andrew Tate, or I don't know, the President of the United States, it doesn't mean that it's not real or that the rhetoric that some of these entities use doesn't sometimes find its way into the ways that people talk about.
And there again, the revolution is threatened by the conversations that the men have, whether it's Black Manosphere or just the Manosphere red pill guys at large. Like, I don't know why you keep picking on academics, but Andrew Tate always comes up in conversation, and everybody knows, you know, Andrew Tate's fighting the matrix, like he says, right? But the idea of men speaking up about what's actually happening and the things that are really going on in society, the stuff that you don't see on regular television, it is threatening to the world order. The Black Manosphere is threatening to the Black Revolution. And so they have to go. They have to be silenced.
Black men online and offline. I've seen the video where the teachers hyper focus on the young black boy, and I've talked about the ways in which society is against black men in tons of videos at this point. If you actually watch me, like watch my actual content beyond when some Manosphere dude is reacting to it, you would know this. And I know this because I spent over 10 years teaching and mentoring and doing social work and working in the court system to keep alleged YNs out of jail and even
right. So he was totally in the system. He's totally a part of the networks, right? Did all the trainings, all the woke stuff. He knows all the woke theologies.
Even ones that have done awful things. I have empathy for all people, period, but especially for men and the type of men that often do not get it. I want you all to know that I've seen these things. I've experienced a lot of these things, and I understand. And in all my work, research, talking to young boys directly, doing mentorship, doing education, and anything you think of about these serious problems. And all my time doing that, I've never seen any reason to come to the conclusion that this is black women's fault, right? This does not mean that there are not bad.
The idea of saying that this whole issue is merely black women's fault is actually another rhetorical trick that is used to kind of obscure the deeper point. It's not even about fault at this point, but things simply are a certain kind of way. Like, it doesn't really help me, or it doesn't help any of my arguments to say that some girl born in the exact same year I was born is responsible for the feminist movement that started in the 1890s or whatever. That's not really the point of what's being said here. But again, to acknowledge the fact that there is a system that is in place. She and I both are born into a system that benefits her independence from family and then taxes me for my failure to maintain that family that she wants to be independent from. It's not even about fault at this point, but I can expect you to make certain decisions knowing that things are going to play out in your favor now.
Bad women or bad black women, some women are awful. That is not something that should be controversial. But if you've watched my videos on guys like Kanye and Drake and Diddy, etc., you know I never really make content saying X person is awful and here's why.
And shout out to Josh. Thanks for the $4.99 super chat. Hit that like button for me, guys. Josh says, trust me, the black women he capes for wouldn't even look his way. Look at those dreads. I mean, well, you know, he likes Beyonce, and Jay-Z got some funny looking dreads. So, you know, maybe there's hope. Maybe there's hope. Maybe one day he can cape for Beyonce directly and he'll win.
I do not hold people accountable. That's not my thing. I don't think that is a thing on the internet, let alone outside of the internet. And if it was to ever happen, it won't be because someone made a YouTube video. And I think it's pretty silly to think otherwise. And considering how some of you all move, that there are numerous large channels and media entities constantly attacking women, even when it doesn't make any sense. Again, I bring up the example of Academics and Cassie, or a bunch of people in Tory Lanez versus Meg.
Right. When you talk about Academic and Cassie or Tory Lanez and Meg, this isn't attacking women. The whole Cassie phenomenon presents a real problem for men and the concept of justice, right? Because how are we supposed to really sort this thing out when Cassie acknowledges that she is a willing participant in the vast majority of what went on? The only thing she apparently didn't want to be a part of is getting kicked in the forehead. How are we supposed to like work that out mentally? Like, what are we supposed to just be like, oh, well, you know, that don't mean nothing? Like, women and their defenders love that kind of thinking. Like, oh, that don't mean nothing. Well, everything means something. So what does that actually mean? And so then when it comes to the Meg Thee Stallion thing, like, oh, well, obviously pointing out that she might have actually done him wrong. She might have been the instigator of the whole event and actually let him go to jail for something that she knew she did. Or that's attacking women. You see what I mean? You can't bully us into loving black women. That's all you got left.
I will always be hesitant to make content along those lines because I know what that type of content ends up contributing to. Mind you, did y'all even watch my video about Dr. Jackie a while back when she used rhetoric that endangered the lives of black women and black children? Or about my critique on—
How does rhetoric endanger the lives of black women? Did she actually call for murder? Like, what do you even mean? These woke dudes, bro. And it's not even just these quote woke dudes, but this is the kind of thinking that exists at the top of black culture, right? Black academia, the black thought leaders, the majority of them have gone through the same kind of system, the same filtration that FD has went through. And now they all think retardedly.
On black policing, where I spent 30 minutes breaking down the problems of Kamala Harris, and even took time to criticize Atlanta's black woman district attorney, who not only fumbled the Trump case, but wasted taxpayer money on the Young Thug trial and has been allegedly stealing money from citizens. You probably didn't see those videos because that's not the type of hold women accountable content y'all are actually interested in, is it? It's not. Because accountability to y'all means something else. So let's dig into that, shall we?
I don't think anybody in the manosphere wants to hold women accountable. That's that whole shame, blame, and explain thing. I think the main thing that you can get from these kind of black male spaces is women do things, they put it on video or gets caught on video, and we talk about the things women do. It's not even complicated. It's just funny.
That rant I cut out of my last video talks about how I just recently for the first time heard Doechie's song Anxiety all the way through. I had seen snippets of it online and like TikToks and Instagram reels and whatnot, but overall I had yet to actually hear the whole song. I had only basically heard the chorus. And it hit me like why that is. And it's because—
Nigga, nobody cares why you care about Doechii, bro. And it's crazy that these are somehow like the thinkers. You know, these are the deep thinkers of black culture, the online intellectuals and stuff.
Because I don't like that song that much. It's not bad. I'm just not head over heels about it. I'm not going out of my way to listen to it. I actually really like Doechii. Alligator Bites was good, but as I've said before, I'm kind of a day one Doechii fan. I found her off TikTok music a while back with Yucky Blucky Fruitcake, and my favorite Doechii song is Crazy that I found off the Madden soundtrack like 3-4 years ago at this point. So as much as I love that she's successful right now, and I'm excited for what comes next with her.
And it seems to me I'm kind of maybe going out on a limb here, but all of his heroes are female. He loves Doechii, loves Beyonce.
Music, that particular song, which is her biggest hit, is not for me. And it hit me that here I am, a fan of Doechii, but I've never heard this song and I've barely heard it used as a sound or anything on TikTok. But I know that there's tons of you watching right now, or tons of people that I'm describing that aren't watching, that have probably heard this song hundreds or thousands of times. Because these are people that are constantly consuming content about Doechii, even though they allegedly hate her. Meanwhile, I, as a fan of her music, have barely interacted with any of the conversation around her. Isn't that kind of interesting? Considering how active
Actually
certain
not,
spaces are online, I bet that 50% of
this nigga really loves talking
maybe
about
around the
random
same
girl
time, it happened with Nicki Minaj 10, 15 years ago, in an era before modern social media. This is a thing that tends to happen when women, especially black women, do too much. Like I remember alleged sex tapes with Lil' Kim 30 years ago, and people trying to say Ciara was really a man. There's always these weird rumors that pop up around black women who have star turns in the public. I almost forget about Beyonce selling her soul.
Yeah, they said Jamie Lee Curtis is a hermaphrodite. People say weird things about celebrities.
To join the Illuminati. Now, a lot of that doesn't have anything to do with red pill adjacent stuff, but these days, that definitely is a big part of any backlash against any black woman. And again, I have to ask why. Even though you allegedly hate Doechii, you'll spend chunks of your free time paying attention to her. There's anti-Doechii takes all over the place. The comment section for anything related to Doechii is full of sock puppet accounts and weirdos talking about how they don't like her. TikTok and Instagram has a
nigga talking about Doechii now. Like, what does this have to do with the Black Manosphere? Let me move ahead some.
Watch porn. Make it make sense.
What is this?
You're giving DDG love. Right? DDG has gotten more attention for allegedly abusing Haley than when he got her pregnant, and let alone any of the music he allegedly released.
Right. And here's another problem that we just keep running into. DDG is accused of abusing Haley. She puts out these pictures that instantly get debunked. She said he chipped her tooth. And then the internet, shout out to all the internet detectives, they start finding pictures of her tooth being chipped way before she said he did it. DDG, on the other hand, he puts out text messages of her threatening him, of her being manipulative, saying, I'm going to get an abortion if you don't do this thing. He puts out pictures of his bloody finger that she apparently cut him somehow during some altercation. You believe her and you think he's lying, even though he actually puts out evidence to what he's saying. You would believe her no matter what. And this is kind of the problem. And again, talking about Freezy earlier, this has been the issue with like black men and black women. This is why, dudes start going on statistics and we start getting into the data. We start actually relying on women using their own testimony against them. Because generally speaking, in Western culture, if a woman says you did something, people are going to look at you crazy. And you're going to have to try really hard. You're going to have to work overtime to clear your name. And so women have been accusing, black women have been accusing black men for years of all this negative behavior. And now we have actual proof, actual evidence. We have the numbers, we have the data, we have the photo evidence, we have the video, and you still can't believe the men. This is a psychological problem at this point.
Y'all will hate on porn stars and then go watch porn. Make it make sense. Before you get mad and tell me how bad these individual people are, because I'm sure there's some angle you could take to explain how insert woman here is bad, I want you to first ask yourself, why do you care? Is it because you feel like the internet is always attacking you? Are you an abuser? Do you aspire to abuse? Why do you feel such camaraderie with men who are abusers, who are being accused of being abusers? How did you even come to know that insert woman here was bad in the first place?
Right, because black men are just naturally abusers, and anytime a woman says that, it has to be true. Meanwhile, no matter how much evidence you can put up to say that she abused me, she cut me, oh, none of that matters anymore. Why are you lying on her? You trying to ruin her career? Why are you talking bad about black women?
Was it because some red pill creator or streamer or Twitter account that you were watching told you? Probably because they knew how you would react. What were you doing when that information came across your attention? Were you doing anything productive with your life, or staring into your phone looking for something to make you feel alive? Again, it may not be you in particular, but if it isn't, understand you probably know exactly who I'm talking about. You know someone that I'm describing right now, and maybe just this once you should send them this video. Because again, look at the comment sections of anything related to these women, because you all constantly consume this type of anti-woman content. These algorithms learn to feed more of it to you.
It doesn't even matter what the algorithm feeds you. The majority of the black male content that is, as he calls it, anti-woman, it literally feeds off of female content. And that's the thing that you can't really get over. I remember I was having this conversation with Obsidian a couple of months ago, and we both, I guess, come to the conclusion that the Black Manosphere has won the argument. It's done. There's really nothing to debate about in terms of statistics and observable reality. And so what you really get left, what you have left, because there's no real argument, is, you know, it's basically the shame, blame, and explain. This whole video is an SBE video. I should put that in the title. This is FD Signifier doing shame, blame, and explain against black men in the manosphere.
Until that's all the internet is to you. It's all you end up seeing whenever you log on. And if you're not aware of how algorithms work, and most people aren't, then you think that negative feedback loop of anti-woman content is how the world is. You think that's normal. So now that I'm explaining to you that it's not, consider why these things bother you so much. Why do you feel the way you feel about an artist or singer or whomever else whose art you generally don't enjoy, but you have really passionate feelings about them? What benefit does that have to you personally? What has being in these spaces really done for you other than give you other people with your same disposition to complain about life with?
They really don't have a logical argument against the manosphere's actual talking points about the structure of government, the way women actually do operate, and in regards to men, you know, things like the 80-20 rule and hypergamy, dual mating strategies and all that. There is no argument they can make now. Now they just have to use the force to Jedi mind trick you.
Basically, not much. So why are you spending your time leaving mean comments about insert visible woman here rather than catching up on sleep or doing work or developing a new skill, exercising, playing video games, or maybe watching something that you actually enjoy? What do you like besides this type of content? Do you even know anymore? Like, are you aware of what you would watch next after this that you actually like? Not that you're trying to argue in the comments around. There's research that indicates that people do pay more attention to things that bother them than things that they like. So this isn't just you necessarily. This is a somewhat universal phenomenon that's maybe somewhat out of your control, but that then begs the question, what about these particular types of videos, these images of these women bother you so much? Why is it so important that someone do something about these women that you think aren't being held accountable?
It actually isn't about any individual woman, and this is what he doesn't really understand. And you know, it's again, so many big threads tie together when you kind of step back and look at the big picture of it all. The Democrats having a problem reaching men is very much analogous to FD Signifier not understanding why the manosphere won't go away and why it technically grows over the years. They have an unwillingness or an inability to really understand the average guy. So even in FD Signifier, I don't claim to know all that much about his personal life, but You are clearly in the academia bubble.
What does that even mean? The most egregious example of this comes from some of you black red pill types who are addicted to engaging with divester content, and you really seem to want me or someone to say or do something about it. So first and foremost, I'll talk about that group relatively in depth.
I feel like he's talking about Mr. Z or something when he says shit like that.
In my Black Manosphere video years ago that I'm assuming a lot of you have never watched. It is long, but it's good. It's, you know, all my shit's good, whatever. And the only reason I did that was to get y'all to shut up about it, which was naive of me, because I didn't understand then what I understand now, which is that this is bigger than anything ideological. This is low-key addiction with y'all, but we're not there yet. But I do want to be clear, that community is vile, as I said in the video, but what did that do about them other than make more people aware of their existence? Do you know what the question I usually get whenever
Well, if that community is vile and you don't want to make people aware of its existence, what is particularly special about the Manosphere, which you would argue is vile in some degree or another? Why do you choose to highlight the Manosphere the way you do, but totally ignore all of the other vile, as you describe it, communities? Like, why are we special? What is it about the Black Manosphere that you just can't quit us, right? You notice that there are all these other, quote, toxic women out there, and they have these groups and they do their thing. When I scroll through an FD Signifier page, I don't see content on that kind of content, right? I don't see one FD Signifier video like, why do y'all hate men? Why do y'all act like this toward men? Nothing like that.
If I mentioned divestors in the video it's what is a divester? You're gonna see that in the comment section because I'm not gonna explain right now. That's what happens when you address certain toxic groups from a large platform. All you really end up doing is allowing them an opportunity to spread their message. Like I always get the, why don't you debate or talk about insert weirdo here comments. And one of the reasons is that even if I debated whatever weird guy or group you wanted me to debate, the actual end effect of that is giving them more attention and making their ideology more normalized.
But you keep talking about the Manosphere though, so you're signal boosting the Manosphere, but you don't want to talk about these other spaces though? Why? Are we more important?
Putting it in the public discourse when really it doesn't have to be there. I have 1 million subscribers now, the vast majority of which have no idea what a divester is. And I kind of want to keep it that way because whenever I talk about them, I'm basically just sharing my platform with them.
You know what I think is actually happening there? You don't want your 1 million subscribers to know just how far gone Black female culture is. It's easy to talk about, well, these right-wing MAGA Black men, right? Your audience will eat that up. But to talk about how there are Black women who enjoy the idea of white cops beating Black men to death, right? That's a little bit too much for your audience to handle. And so you have to protect them from that kind of knowledge because it's dark, heavy knowledge.
Is that what you want? More divestors? And some of y'all are gonna make up a reason to say yes. And that shows me what's really behind your frustration with that group. It's not about defeating that group or holding them accountable. It's about an intrinsic desire you have to do something specifically with a group that you don't like, made up of people with bad ideas. But the problem isn't their ideas, it's their existence, isn't it? Explain to me what you expect to happen if I address them again. Do you think they'll magically vanish, or will they make a video about the video I made about them, put my face on their thumbnail and get more views than they've ever got? Do you seriously think the divester ideology is popular?
Honestly, your face doesn't really spark the algorithm as much as you want it to.
Popular among Black women, or is it a small but very active group of women online who most just say fucked up shit about Black men in discords, right? But some of you are so deep into misogyny that you genuinely have convinced yourself that with all the wild stuff going on in the world, that it's Black women who you feel are inferior to you that are also somehow simultaneously the most dangerous threat to black people. Black women are both too educated and too masculine and, you know, too stuck up or whatever, have too high standards, but also are a bunch of losers who nobody likes or nobody thinks is pretty and do dumb stuff. Like, it's
Yeah, I think those things are true at the same time. The education, the career chasing, it makes them masculine and unlikable. I think it happens to women generally.
It's weird. You may think this is hyperbolic that people say these backwards things about black women, but let me refer to the goofiest Manosphere comment I've ever heard that I used in that old Black Manosphere video.
If a black woman would have kept her mouth shut back then, you would not be having World War I and World War II.
Here's something I know a lot of y'all won't agree with, but I just got to be real. There are different standards for men and women in the world, especially online. And I know that in your heads, you think that women have it easy based on these double standards. You think women get away with things that you can't get away with. You hate.
Does that only exist in the men's head, or are men actually making a point about this hypocritical equality that we keep getting forced under?
The idea that women are not required to be high value in order to be viable on the dating market. You're bitter at the fact that your role in gender politics seems to be passive while theirs is active, and you're just hoping that if you shoot your shot, you'll be chose while it's...
I'm not sure what that means. Your role in gender politics is passive while theirs is active. I think, all right, if I were to take a stab at that, maybe he's talking about something that I've been kind of talking about for a minute, which is black politics primarily serves the female interest. There is no specifically male interest that is ever being spoken to. And so, yeah, I would be bothered by that only because y'all keep telling me that we're in it together and I got to do stuff to help y'all. But none of the women ever feel compelled to help the men politically. But the men constantly have to do the heavy lifting for the women politically.
It seems like these women are just, I don't know, swiping right on dating apps and stuff and getting whatever they want out of life. And that's just not true. And even if it was, which it isn't, your response to this shouldn't be to take your frustrations out on random women you don't even know. It'd be to address the system that makes this double standard possible. And you already know.
They are the system, though. They literally are the system.
Know what social system that is, but just this once, I won't say it. But I'll give you a hint. It's the same system that makes you desire to see women put in their place. And if you say this isn't the case, you're lying.
Asking for justice is desiring to see women somehow subjugated or whatever. And this is this is again all the gaslighting and that goes against black men. And this is why black men in particular are going to lead the fall of the Democrat Party. We're going to talk about that maybe tomorrow. I might come back later on and talk about it too. We might do a doubleheader today. I don't know. But this idea that you can just constantly ignore the growing complaints and criticism of a huge part of your community is actually how you lose your community. This is how mutinies happen. This is how captains get thrown overboard and fed to the sharks.
I've seen your content. Feminists put in her place by facts and logic is literally a genre of video for y'all that always makes money. Why do you think that is? Maybe you don't think this is misogyny. Maybe you don't think this is hate. Fine. But then I have to return to that question. Why are you watching it? Why are you watching me for that matter? Was this video sent to you by someone you love? Good, I guess. Hopefully this can create a conversation in the aftermath. But if this came up in your algorithm without you looking for it, then it's probably because the algorithm knows something about you that you probably won't admit to yourself. My algorithm gives me football podcasts, video essays, nerd shit, and
this nigga algorithm shaming now. I've never seen algorithm shaming before. Like, ew, your algorithm, it's all black feminist stuff. Like, what is this algorithm shaming? What's happening here? What the hell happened to men? We algorithm shame each other now.
Every once in a while, a woman on the timeline that looks like Bria Miles. Every blue moon, I might go and look to see what the Manosphere is talking about, but I don't watch them or any type of right-wing content pretty much at all. And that's when—
See, you don't watch any type of right-wing content, so all you can do is speculate about what people are really thinking. You have no idea. What's the phrase of it? You have no proper theory of mind for the right-wing men, for the manosphere kind of men, because you don't really look at the content. And when you do look at it, you look at it to scorn it, not to understand it. And so your lacking theory of mind is why you always come off such an asshole and why people give you such crazy pushback. And then frankly, it's obvious that not only you, but like I was talking about Freezy and them this morning, you actually don't care about your fellow man the way you claim to. You care about the women. All the men be damned. You care about the women. And that's fine if that's what your thing is, but don't lie to me. Don't hug me and call me a brother and then try to chain me to this wildebeest.
When it's the off season and there's not a video game I'm playing. Because aside from the fact that I don't like watching things that I don't like, I also hate the idea that my attention will help people I don't think have good ideas get paid, which brings it to my last point. No shade, but I don't need y'all. I engage in Manosphere related.
So why are you here, bro? It's been years since you've done any real Manosphere content. It's been years. And to be fair, from what I understand, you went around the rosy and got cooked every time you popped your head up. Whether it was Mr. Z, whether it was the Bernard Riley show where I played the whole clip that you and I interacted in, whether it's I think he popped up on Green Gorillas. You can never win the arguments by addressing the points. You always have to offer some kind of subterfuge and change the discussion and move the goalpost. You can't contend with the plain basic arguments and criticisms that men have. And so now you just got to find a way to shut the men up and tear them down. But the idea that you don't need us, yeah, fine, bro, you got 1 million subs. Why do you care? Why is it so important to you? Because you care more about the revolution than you do about black men. And you will sacrifice untold amounts of black men to your forevolution before you actually come to terms with reality.
Issues out of a sense of obligation, the kindness of my heart. I do it out of wanting to help, not because I need the looks, not because I need the views. My audience is already 70% male. I said this numerous times, but y'all refuse to make sense of that. And please don't tell me that it's white men or black men who hate watch me, because that doesn't make any sense. I ran up on a Manosphere dude the other day who said that the near 300, 400,000 black men who are subscribed to me are just hate watchers somehow.
Well, no, but they're definitely not masculine men in the traditional sense of the word. And for the exact reason Dick Doug was highlighting, shout out to Dick Doug with the $5 super chat. If you caught that, once again, just like Stanley, shout out to BGS, he believes that a men-dominated environment is only Eurocentric. And this is a deep failing of the black male mind, right? The idea that men being in charge, that men setting the tone, that men being the last word of a conversation is somehow white patriarchy. That is literally the thinking that gets you put back in chains. Because here's the thing about equality as it applies to two random guys. You're only as equal as you can defend it. Your equality literally stops at your ability and skill level. And see, women in modern culture, modern Western culture, we have this false notion of equality that we can somehow apply government pressure or government money to a problem or a social issue, and that will create equality. But it's an artificial equality. Real equality does not exist, right? There's only cooperation. That's kind of the raw state of men. We can never have true equality because, there's kings and there's warriors and there's farmers, there's the poor people, there's, you know, the guy who picks up the trash, there's the craftsmen, the tradesmen, the builders, the fixers, the hunters, right? There are always going to be different core groups of people that make a society work properly. And then in between all of that, there are the women who find a way to become a part of this and that and all, but they do so typically through their attachment to the men. But this idea that we're all somehow just naturally equal is a lie. Equality can only be imposed by liberalism. And so we operate with this idea of false equality, and now everybody's suffering under it. And then you wonder why your guys are running away from your party. It's because you've been lying to them the whole time and then making them suffer. And in Black men especially, you've been telling Black men that we need to be equal to Black women. Meanwhile, Black women resent Black men for not being able to provide the very trappings of life that white women are accustomed to. That's what the whole K. Michelle clip is about. You want Black men to provide Black women with what you see white women having access to. But the fact is, white women aren't really equal to white men, nor do they really attempt to be. Not in those environments that Kate Michelle is talking about. That country western, southern, suburban kind of lifestyle, that country living lifestyle, the women don't go out of their way to make themselves equal to the men. Whereas, like, I get on these panels with guys like Freezy and I have all these arguments with random women on the panel because ultimately they want to find themselves in a position being equal to the men. And then, you know, I can't operate in a system where the woman is equal to me and then expecting me to have all the responsibility at the same time. It is retarded.
These shows and actually spew this black fatigue bullshit as well.
Can I respond?
In defense of white folk. In
always
defense
goes
of
back.
white folk. But now it's easier. But see, you are a conservative. The reason why you can see it clearly, more clearly now, is because it's a black woman doing it. That's why, bro. This shit been going on. This shit been going on, using white folk to shame black people. Guess who's been consistent on this though? Freezy.
You doing it right now, using white folk to shame conservatives.
No,
so
I
I mean,
never
that's how it works.
used a white
That's the
person to
game.
shame. Has anybody heard me use a white person to shame black folk?
No.
No.
When have I done it? Even on this show.
Why are we even talking about racism right now? We were talking about K. Michelle wanting what the white people want, but you blame black men instead of actually just accepting your role in it. No, that's always the distraction. The black man got a problem with what the black man is doing, what the black woman is doing, and because you don't want the black man to talk about what the black woman is doing, you have to bring up racism so we can fight the race war instead of having a one-on-one discussion about what it is that you're doing between me and you.
So I don't want the black man to talk about.
It's always the race distraction.
Wait, you're saying I don't want the black man to talk about what black women are doing?
You rather talk about racism.
So when on your spare time, skim through my content.
This is all over the place.
Skim through my content. I've talked several times about what black women are doing and how they need to improve. I've said this several times, bro.
Did you?
What it is
let's stay focused on K. Michelle then, because
did you hear the earlier conversation?
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. I am focused on K. Michelle. I made it my thumbnail. K. Michelle and Cam Newton. I am focused on K. Michelle. I had to remind you that we wasn't just up here willy-nilly going in on black men on Father's Day. Okay. I'm the one told you that we're talking about K. Michelle.
Okay, so now that being said, when she says that it's the men who need to get out here and do the family, it's all y'all. Y'all black men got to do this. Y'all black men got to do that. We are not criticizing her for wanting what she wants. We're criticizing her hypocrisy for putting it all on the men as if the women had nothing to do with it. It's all on the men, always.
Okay. So hold on. I'm gonna let somebody else talk. Go ahead.
Okay,
now, it was a short part of her interview. I will give you that. But she did criticize she brought up the city girls and how degenerate they are.
She mentioned that in the opening of what she was trying to talk about, but her major, she got all teary-eyed because, you know, you black men got to do this, and you black men, they just, and then the whole gaslighting thing, like, we really need y'all and all. It's cat, bro. It's cat. The whole thing is out of order, man. And the simple problem is we'll never really get to a workable solution for the majority of people. See, like, Freezy was on his like Highlander. I'm not, you know, there can be only one type of deal, but the fact is the majority of us will find some kind of happiness, some kind of equilibrium. The handful of good women and the handful of good men, some of them will actually pair off and make it work, and they'll look at the world around them and be thankful for what they have and all that. But the majority cannot get to a great place from where we are because the game is just too rigged. The rules are out of whack. We have 18th century morality with 21st century liberalism legal constructs, and the two things just simply don't go together. Either the women get to be free, either the men and the women can both be free, or nobody's free. And that's kind of the problem that a lot of men are having here. And again, whether it's the Black Manosphere, whether it's the pro-blacks in general seem to have a majority female movement, or whether it's the Democrats seem to have a majority female movement, everybody is having a problem getting men to stay on board. And the simple thing is you have to offer men more. And not only do you have to offer men more, but you have to kind of balance the scales out a little bit in other areas. It's not just like the romantic area. It's not just a family court thing. Like, as long as the government is kind of focused on helping women become equal to men, then it will always necessitate you focus more on the women and put more pressure on the men, because men are naturally going to outperform women most of the time. And now you're going to point to that outperformance and say, oh, it's not fair. We got to do more. And then once you start doing more, the women are like, oh my God, there aren't any men around. All these guys are awful. All the men are chopped. You know, that's the whole new thing they're saying right now is a chopped epidemic or whatever. And it's just not a good place to get anything going from. But I think I've said enough about this today. We're going to wrap this one up right now. I'm kind of 50-50. I'm thinking about doing a doubleheader. I might take a nap or something because I got nothing to do today. And it's like raining. I ain't really trying to go nowhere today. But we might come back later for a doubleheader and talk some black politics and whatnot. Because this immigration thing, I'm going to make a prediction, man. Immigration is going to be the issue that blows the Democrat Party up. Specifically, black support for the Democrat Party is about to plummet because you're watching all of your black elected officials cape for a completely hostile ethnic group, and shrewd up-and-coming politicians will not let that go unchallenged. And I can't wait for the next round of political commercials. Jasmine Crockett campaigned for Guatemalans, El Salvadorians, and even Mexicans, but she claims to be a member of the Black Caucus. I can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We might have to come back for a doubleheader because I'm really thinking about this idea in my head right now. But I will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate all your support. Thanks for the super chats. Hit that like button on your way out, guys. We'll see what happens about the doubleheader, man.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.